Hi.
Hi, Tyson. Good morning.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody, to the Environmental Committee meeting this Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 at 9 a.m. I just wanted to call this to order and acknowledge that we are on the unceded territory of the Stahelas. And item number 3, introduction of late items. Does anybody have any late items that they'd like to introduce?
I just have an item of interest that we had talked about last meeting. Fred had brought up some comments about the stream keepers and water quality. So I just printed up the last 2 years water quality. If anyone wants to take a look at that for the Miami River.
Could you summarize that for us in a quick few minutes?
Well,
you
want to add it to the agenda?
Yeah, let's add it to the agenda.
Water
Yeah,
quality?
Sure.
Sure.
Trends?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we add that as section C.
Yes.
And we'll put the item C to number D, because that's just a scheduling issue. Thank you, corporate officer. Are there any other introduction of late items?
Yeah, I was reading through the OCP and we're going to talk about the OCP at one thing. And I have a couple of things that I have some questions regarding, things that are connected to it, but not directly part of the OCP that maybe we could discuss, such as one of them is tree protection during construction. And the other one is connection of Miami River Greenway to the beach. There was mentions in the OCP about that. So I don't know.
Okay, can we we'll add that as another item then, or does that corporate officer, does that into our work plan discussion as well? Maybe it doesn't. Okay.
I can touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe we'll just add it as an item to kind of determine what the questions are. So we'll have it as D and then bump the next meeting date.
Perfect.
Okay.
Is that okay, Paul? We're gonna add it as an item. Good. Yeah, Johnny, your turn.
Yeah, I just have one item. I think addressing we had that issue with the grebe duck. Remember it was angled.
You want to give us an
the
update?
Landscaping.
Let's add it as an item.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll add that as item F then. I think, Amanda, we're up to. I think
It'll
it'll be a
E
quick
and then we'll bump everything else. So sorry, that was landscape like in the lagoon. Is that what you're?
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Update on the ducks.
Wiring.
Okay.
Stuff underneath.
Any other late items, Mayor Talon or Jason? Okay, so I just wanted to get the amended agenda approved. Do I have a mover for the amended agenda? Susan, thank you. Thank you, Paul. Seconded. And any discussion about the amended agenda? Okay, all in favor? And that's approved. Okay, item number 5, adoption of the minutes. Okay, I've got item A here. Is it okay, Amanda, if I read this out? That the Environmental Advisory Committee meeting minutes of our last meeting on October the 8th be adopted. Is there a mover to this? Okay, sorry, seconder. Yeah, Susan, second. Johnny, thank you. Any questions or comments, discussion? Okay, all in favor? And that's approved. Okay, item 6. We'll get into the meat of the things, items for discussion. The first one is our hazardous waste collection day. And first of all, thank you to the members of this committee to be involved. We were all involved in its logistics and planning. Susan and Johnny, thank you so much for standing in the rain, under the tent, collecting all this waste. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the baked goods as well. You're special. And Johnny, thanks for fixing my tire at the end of the day.
Okay, so be able to get home.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. But let's talk about what we learned that day and how we can make it better next day. And everything's on the table. If we want to change the date, the event, how we did it, all that kind of things. Are there any comments about that at all? Johnny, go ahead.
Time-wise, I think maybe 9 to 2 or something, bringing it a little earlier, because remember, I think 4 was it that we stayed?
Yeah, we kept track of that, didn't we? When people were coming, and nobody really showed up after 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
even after 2 o'clock, it was pretty slow. Yeah. So I agree. Maybe we start in the morning when people are getting their day going. Maybe 9 to 3 or something. Yeah. Okay. Amanda, are you taking notes on this? Or okay, thank you. Anything else that we might want to change or that we learned?
Collecting, I think there was like some things we couldn't take. Remember that?
Yeah.
recall, was it the lead battery or no?
There was motorcycle battery that someone brought, like low
Yeah.
batteries there that they couldn't take. And then household batteries.
Yes.
Yeah, so I agree. And the other item was motor oil. A lot of people change their own
That's right,
oil,
yeah.
and people had gallons of it,
Yeah.
shockingly, and we couldn't take it. And I don't know why. But so maybe, Amanda, if we could look into adding these items, I don't know if it's possible, but household batteries is a big one, and used motor oil. And there were other solvents too, like
There were.
other oils. Okay.
Were you able to direct those people to where they could dispose of?
Yeah,
those
I think
things?
Susan looked it up.
And I can't remember the gentleman's name again that was there, but he was helpful because he actually took
Oh,
some.
Victor is the mayor of Hope who was there.
And
He was there, he took some of the stuff to drop it off on the
Right.
way.
yeah.
But I think what you're referring to is having the fellow from the government come from
Yeah.
Delta. And I can't remember his name. You set it up, Amanda. This guy came who does these days all the time, and he was just a wealth of information and able to
Yeah.
direct, and I forget his name. But he was with Enviro Waste, I think, on Annacis Island. He's the one that brought all the bins and took them away.
He was really good.
Yeah.
Very helpful, very helpful.
But I think our staff did a good job on the signage.
Yeah, that was great, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we can always do more advertising next time.
I think doing it again in the spring would be helpful
Yeah.
because we had such a short window to advertise it to people. So I was telling a lot of people that took, said, oh, I have more stuff. I think we're planning to maybe do it again in the spring. If we
Yeah.
do. So watch for that.
So what do you guys think about that? We talked about that in the rain that day. Do we just put this in conjunction with our Earth Day? And we do the two events coinciding, do the Earth Day in May and have this hazardous waste collection depot as part of it?
I don't know
Separate.
about that. I think because there was a pretty good location for it.
It's a good
and
location.
We will be down there, so you're gonna direct everyone to come down to sort of the main drag to drop off their waste, and it might be, I think there's challenges there.
Okay.
To do it on the same day, but it may be an opportunity to maybe have it like the week after Earth Day, so
Okay.
we can promote it more or something like that. I think at the same time, it would be hard for us as volunteers to man it and be at Earth Day and.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a good idea, because I just to talk to people about, hey, next weekend we're having things.
Yeah, okay, good. And I was grateful to see that, I think it was just under 100 people dropped things off, which I think was a pretty good venue for the first time.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty good. Okay, Paul, anything else to add?
No, I wasn't there, so I'm glad you're gonna do it after Earth Day. I agree with that, a week later or so.
Good, okay. Anything else before we move on from hazardous waste collection day? And sorry, Amanda, yeah?
Yeah, we might be able to look at doing battery recycling at Earth Day in May as just like having a bin there, because household batteries, maybe not car batteries, but household batteries are easy enough to bring in, so try
Good
and
idea.
just have a bin like at the front somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Incorporate that.
Yeah, because that's easy for people to carry down if they're coming.
Yeah, you might have a box or whatever, but yeah.
Okay, good idea, thank you. Okay, anything else? Okay, before I move on from item B, or sorry, A, we'll go to nothing else then. Okay, so item B, let's get into the 2026 work plan and budget. So we're hoping at the end of today to bring, the council has one meeting left before the new year, and then they only have one meeting in January. So I'm hoping today to give council some direction as to what we may need, what resources we may need from the village going forward for next year. So everything's on the table. Amanda did do up a work plan, which we've discussed before. And if there's anything new that we want to add, then let's do that. The first one here, if you guys want to go to page 5, is Earth Day in May. So is there, and Amanda's got some information there about how much staff time it's going to take, and I don't want to overload staff. They're busy enough as it is. And then also a budget attached to that. And each of these items have a budget attached to that. So is there any comment? We'll just go on the first item here, Earth Day in May. Are there any comments or questions or ideas that we can do to make it better? Or Amanda, should we have that discussion now or just try to confirm that we wanted this as part of our work budget?
Sure, if I could maybe speak to it a little bit and provide some background on the items and how we got to this product that we're at today for page 5 here. So the first one there was discussed at the last committee meeting, and it was requested by the committee to increase the budget there for 1,500. So that's in the minutes from the last meeting there. The next one, I did reach out to Minter Gardens, and they were really excited about the possibility of partnering. So I wanted to provide a little bit of information because that is one that's a new budget item because we weren't sure how much that would cost. So this is the idea where if you sign up for a Fire Smart assessment, you get a voucher for a tree.
Yeah.
And there are several ways that we could do it. We could make it completely free to the resident to get a tree, completely subsidized by the environmental committee or by taxation, or they get a 25% discount directly from the nursery, which would be free to the village, or you could do some sort of combination of the two, and that's what I've reflected in the budget. It's a midway point, so it's going to depend on the type of tree. Of course, it's going to be a Fire Smart tree or shrub. So the village would provide an additional 25% off, so people could get a half off tree as an incentive. So that's what that cost is reflective of, and that was only for about 25 trees. It's not a huge amount, but
Yeah,
that's for that item.
the discount is symbolic and the number is symbolic, but I think it's important to signal these symbols that we're trying to improve things from a Fire Smart point of view and tree canopy point of view.
And that's a great partnership, I mean, between the nursery, the village, and then the homeowner.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we can build some momentum on that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good first, see how it goes and see what that looks like.
Thanks for looking into that.
Yeah, no problem. They were very busy when I contacted them, but they did get back to me and they were very excited to do that. So.
And are there any grants from either the federal or provincial government on Fire Smart that is directly related to the purchase of trees that we can tap into?
Not that I know of. The grants that we receive are more about like implementing Fire Smart recommendations. I believe they assisted with the CWRP, those types of things.
Okay.
Or having the Fire Smart assessment as well. So not that I know of in terms of tree planting. We're continuing to look for grants for like municipal tree planting, not private tree planting. Like with green initiative funds.
Right. That's
actually
the items coming up.
Yeah, coming up. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So the next one hasn't changed, I don't believe, since the last time we looked at this. It's actually going to be a topic of discussion later on today, but just basically the committee will continue to look at the Miami River Health. The public area tree planting, again, will continue to seek grant funding for green spaces, and the committee was going to assist in identifying some of those public areas, which I believe is already underway. The Lillooet Avenue West streetscape plan. So at the last council meeting, council approved a 95% drawing. So we are going to be going out to tender on that shortly for procurement. There's a landscape plan in there that anyone can have a look at. We are trying to get it done before the tourism season.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a time crunch with that.
But the finer detail, I would like you guys, if you don't mind, to review, if you could send copies to this committee.
Yeah, it's on our
just specifically of that. Oh, it's on the page.
Yep.
Maybe send us the link. It's easier to hit find.
Sure.
But if you guys have comments as to any environmental implications or ideas that you have, Jace is working on finalizing this plan. It's a plan in concept, but also he wants to finalize this pretty quickly so that we can get it done before tourist season. But if you have ideas, it's pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, there's a couple of small rain gardens, and there's a artistic flowing river that's going to be in one of the sidewalks, and a lot more greenery and soft surfaces. I'm excited about it, but I'd like you guys to have a comment on it if you have any. Okay. Yeah,
and it would be really great if we could organize this committee and the Communities in Bloom committee to maybe participate in some volunteer planting once we're ready to do that later in the spring or early summer. So that's coming along. I do want to touch on the Bear Stewardship Committee. We have a recommendation of council to look at a Bear Stewardship Committee and look at what that might look like in terms of forming a group. I just did a bunch of research on it, and I actually have a report coming to council at the next meeting, and it's a very big undertaking. It's very expensive. So there's 6 steps. The first step is to create a bear hazard assessment, and that alone is about $15,000. And then the next step after that is a management plan, and that can be up to $20,000. It takes several years, and a lot of places that are Bear Smart. There's only 12 communities in BC that are
Right.
Bear Smart.
So you're outlining the 6 steps of the Bear Smart program, is what you're.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
2 of the six steps. But
Yeah.
out of the 12 communities, most of the time what it is, it's a large group of people who are very knowledgeable, who are very passionate about bears, and create a not-for-profit that works with the municipality
Right.
to fund these projects and recommend a budget. And it's a long-term, I think like West Kelowna has been working on it for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the statistics for bear calls between 2025 and 2024, they're down 25% across the province. We don't have any data this year from 2025 yet about whether any bears were destroyed here. But in 2024, there hasn't been since 2012 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a very costly undertaking, a very time-consuming undertaking that really needs a lot of community support. Like some of these not-for-profits have like 12 directors on the board. And it's quite a large undertaking. And I think that there are some other ways that are less impactful in terms of time, resources, and funding that we can do to strengthen wildlife management here and reduce those human bear conflicts in the village. That they might not necessarily result in the village becoming a Bear Smart community.
Right. Yeah.
But I still think there are opportunities. But the Bear Stewardship Committee, it would take a really big push from members of the community for us to be able to even start, and we would have to make sure that people are committed to the long haul for it. So I just don't think it's feasible, to be honest, to go all the way to being a Bear Smart community. But having said that, I do think there are ways that this committee can help make recommendations to council to strengthen. For example, we have our waste management bylaw. Well, that only applies to residences in town. I think there's a huge opportunity to connect with the business community about their waste management practices and increase some of those communications, partnering with Lori, who's our current Bear Smart coordinator, although I think she's done for the year now. And I don't think we know whether that's going to continue in the future, but really focusing on that community engagement piece.
Yeah.
And also with the shift, I don't know if the rest of the committee is aware, but we're looking at shifting to a year-round bylaw enforcement model, and that will really help create more opportunities for us to focus on messaging and getting that information out and sharing those resources to make people aware. And there is strong community support. I mean, we saw it when we were making those amendments to the waste collection bylaw. A lot of people were very passionate about it, and there were a handful of people who were upset about it, of course, but there were a lot of people.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, but there were a lot of people who thought it was a good idea. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really positive thing. So I prepared this, and then the more I look into Bear Smart, I think it would be great, but I do think it's a little bit out of reach at this point. So I would maybe amend this to just strengthening, wildlife management in the village and making recommendations to council about how that can happen.
Just while you're on that, any comments about, Amanda, I think it's very well said, everything that you just said. But any comments from the committee at all?
I think it's, it would
Yeah.
probably lean into realistically.
Yeah, we gotta be realistic.
Right.
The reality is that we don't necessarily have to become an officially sanctioned Bear Smart community and all its costs and implications, but we can still come together as a community and do the best we can to control wildlife negative wildlife interactions with people. And also, I like your idea of leveraging bylaw and communicating with the commercial folks to try and get their garbage. And most of them do a good job. But anyways, okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Say-
I want to expand a little bit on the not-for-profit, easy for me to say,
Yeah.
not-for-profit component that Amanda spoke to. I don't want anybody in this room or anybody that is passionate about the Bear Smart program to not lose focus on trying to move forward with this initiative. I think if there are members of the community that are interested in establishing a not-for-profit to be able to move forward with this type of initiative, because Amanda's right, we saw a group of very passionate people when we were talking about changing the waste management bylaw. And I think there's an opportunity there to harness that involvement with those people.
Yeah.
And we've helped other people establish not-for-profits, and we're happy to provide assistance. But I think that it would be a good idea for those people to really think seriously about that. And then this committee, and then of course council, can support in any way possible. But making it an established council committee is a bit of a challenge. Obviously, you see resources.
Sure. And how do you generate that organically? Do you put a call out to interested citizens? How's that momentum? I mean, we gained a lot of momentum this spring with our bylaw changes and that sort of thing. So is it just up to the residents to do their thing, or do we invite? It is. Okay, it's grassroots, but we need to support that in every way that we can. Short of spending all that money to get the designation. We can do just as good a job without the designation if we come together as a community, I think. So I appreciate what you're saying.
Not-for-profits do have opportunities to look for funding, and perhaps in order to be able to build that plan. And again, the village can assist in any way we can. But I don't want this to lose momentum.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that there's some extremely passionate people that have a really good base knowledge on how to establish these types of initiatives. And I really think they should seriously think about formalizing a group and establishing a nonprofit. It's fairly easy. You just need a chair and a bunch of board members, and drop the
Make it sound.
And can we provide them space, like in this room, if they want to meet?
if needed. Absolutely. Yeah.
We're not necessarily going to add staff hours to it unless they ask, specifically, unless we are able. So shout out to people who are listening, and we all know people who are passionate about this. And trying to get them to organically form a group, and we'll support them. But at the same time, I think it's incumbent on this committee in this room, if we have items about bear stewardship that we think council can do and staff can do a better job with, i.e. the waste management plan, which we have changed, if we need to tweak it, this committee, I think, ought to be able to have comment on that. So anything from the committee? Paul, you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. I mean, I guess with the Bella Coola incident with a bear, I mean, you need to get ahead of it rather than have something happen and then get people get involved. It's good to be ahead of this issue, and public education, the whole works from a group that before we have a problem.
That's a good point. Like, I know that was a grizzly bear, different species, but could you imagine a panicked bear loose on the beach or on the Spirit Trail, and tourists who don't know better otherwise causing it to have more panic? We could have an injury and a problem there. So that's a very good point. So, yeah. Okay, anything else then? Adopt a shoreline.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amanda. Yeah.
Sure. Sorry, just to circle back to that, what I'll probably do with that item is change it, as we discussed, to something that's more generic about like wildlife protection and examine ways that the village can mitigate and reduce human bear conflicts.
Okay.
And just go in that direction for that one. The next one was a recommendation actually from this committee that went back to council, and now it's going this way and that way, but we put it on the work plan as something that the committee will look at in the new year. We have an existing Adopt a Road program policy. It's one page, it's not very long.
Sorry, we do have one?
We have an existing Adopt a Road program. I think it's not been active since like 2014. So we have like a policy where we'll put a sign up with the person's name or whoever is adopting that road. So we have a motion of council to look at it, expanding that to like the lagoon or trails. So
adopt a road trail shoreline.
yeah, adopt an area. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that something we can look at in the spring or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And then the last one there also came out of this committee, a request to look at cosmetic pesticide use and make some recommendations to council about that. So at the moment, there is no bylaw regarding cosmetic pesticides.
And, okay, this is, how do we get that issue sort of at the forefront here? Is there bylaws that we need to look at? Pesticide bylaws that we have, or?
Can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, go somewhere.
Well, yeah, I was just saying, are there things that what can this committee do, or what can council and staff do to try to improve this situation? Do we need to do some research, or?
I think the first step is going to be reviewing what you'd like to see. So if you think that the village should have a cosmetic pesticide use bylaw, then you would make that recommendation to council, and then they would deliberate on whether they want to do that. I know it's been before council in the past, and it was not, the bylaw did not proceed. So, I mean, that was several years ago, so it could be that's different.
I think in both those
Situation now?
instances, I can remember, because I was one of them, it was a total ban on pesticides.
Okay.
Maybe now we can direct it to different things, so allow for things like the noxious Japanese,
Yes.
not weed, but not for dandelions on people's lawns, you know.
Can I maybe add like herbicide? Is that what more? That you're like already
Pesticide
keen-
and herbicide,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think articulating the problem is gonna help council with the solution. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is what's the problem in the bill? What problem would this solution fix? And I think articulating that clearly would be a really good first start. I think it's hard for council to get their head around that all pesticides are bad, all herbicides are bad. I think, and kind of go tilt with that, especially when you've got federal agencies and provincial agencies that study the use of these things extensively and review them from time to time. It's hard for a small village to sort of have the capacity to sort of say, okay, do we have a problem? If so, what did?
Okay.
How do we get the knowledge of that, right?
Yeah.
How do we get that understanding?
Just to give a little perspective, government agencies don't necessarily do the studies. They ask for the studies from the companies that make the pesticides. So it's,
I totally agree.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I agree with your skepticism
So-
about this.
so you, what I'm understanding, so that you would say, like, say this type of herbicide, address the herbicide, has created this type, and just be a solution to.
Well, how is it a problem in the village?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really home thing, and yeah, obviously companies do that, but there's also independent research on particularly some of the key herbicides that's done by either Health Canada or provincial agencies. So, yeah, I've tried to read up on a couple of them, and it's really technical. It's really technical, and then it comes down to whether you have any confidence in any of the studies.
Yeah,
And
because I think my understanding is sometimes a commercial Roundup can be applied here, like commercial landscaping could apply Roundup, or which normally isn't really the best. to
well, at
have.
least if it's in our project. It's a
Yeah.
start of a discussion that hasn't really happened.
Yeah.
And like I said, in Communities in Bloom, I'm going to try to bring forward these ideas of different types of lawns and things like that. And I spent a decade working on this in another community, trying to get a municipality to have a moratorium on using it on sports fields and things. And it takes a long time. So even that we're starting to have this discussion so we can have the debate, like I'm really excited about that it's here, right?
We're gonna lean on you
Yeah.
for your expertise, because you've done this for a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just starting here, but help us
Mhm.
get through this.
Yeah, and just last week, I think I watched this amazing documentary called Into the Weeds, which was about pesticide and Roundup and the government regulation and things, and it dealt with it in the States, but it was very eye-opening. It talked about some of the things we talked about here with the spraying of the forest and things. So just starting to get into that, and maybe there's opportunities again with Earth DMA to show a film, to do things like that. So the different things to sort of tie in.
Can you send us that link
Of what?
of the show on pesticides?
Oh, I
Into
saw it
the-
on TV,
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Into
but I
the
can
Weeds.
probably find it. Yeah, Into the
Maybe
Weeds.
We'll do a village movie night. I'll show that.
Yeah, we'll review it first because it's a bit heavy.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah, great discussion. I'd like to see us talk about that. So we'll keep pursuing that. Are you guys okay with pursuing that? Yeah, how do you guys want to proceed with all this? Amanda's given us some great information, and maybe we leave it as is. If there's any gaps, let's fill in the gaps. If there's any more things that you want to expand on it, great. Any comments, Paul, about any of these items, or Johnny or Susan, anything at all about any of these? Now's our time. I think we've got a very good outline here that we can bring to council. There's money involved, and I think this is a really good start and a good blueprint for the year. We want to not do too much. We have 1 year left as a committee, hopefully more beyond that, but 1 year left as a committee. And let's try to get some progress on all of these or some of these. Any comments about this? Paul, you okay with all this?
Yeah, I'm in favor of the work plan as being proposed
I
here.
think it's very good. Okay. Good. Susan?
Yeah, no, I think
Okay.
this is a great work plan for us for this year.
And Amanda, for council, is there anything else that you need? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a motion that I can recommend so that we can move this forward to council. So the motion with the changes would be that the 2026 work plan and budget be approved and forwarded to council with the discussed changes to the Bear Smart Committee item and the cosmetic pesticide item, which is to include herbicides as well. Those are the two changes.
How are you altering the cosmetic? Oh, to include herbicides,
Yeah.
okay. And the Bear Stewardship Committee, we're still gonna talk about wildlife interaction, negative interaction. And so we're not striking this off of our, okay, you're just, all right. And how do we proceed as a committee then? Do we put out calls for ideas on a Bear Stewardship Committee? Is there something that we can do as a village, or it has to be done organically? I know we've.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think I think the Bear Smart Committee at this point is not feasible. So putting out a call,
Sure.
it's
It's not gonna be a village committee.
Yeah, so that's
We
not
talk-
to say though, if someone came and, they have a not-for-profit, they've got 6 people in town who really want to do this, that changes the game a little bit for us.
Yeah.
And then I think the plan with that would be to go back to council and say, okay, are you okay with us supporting this? Because it's also, as much as it's a community-driven project, it takes a ton of coordination across several
Sure it
village
does.
departments, right? You gotta have bylaw, parks, all that stuff, so.
Sorry, I forgot you. were
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, that's good. Is everybody okay with the plan?
There's nothing stopping anyone on this committee or everyone on this committee from posting on Facebook saying, anyone interested in getting together, group together to do, to advance bear stewardship in the village. And just posting on Facebook and see who comes out of the weeds, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, and just see, it doesn't, I worry that if the village leads it, it becomes something that,
Oh, for sure.
but if it starts with just people getting together saying this is important, and we all like each other's posts, it gets traction in social media, and now's the time to really see if that works, because, you know, spring will be around the corner where the probably increased bear activity in town as they either pass through, move around, or look for easy.
So creating a nonprofit out of that, is it different?
Well, that would be that group of people getting together and saying, let's organize ourselves so we can do things, either applying for grants or, you know, coordinating with the village and other types of things. Then you've got that formal structure. And then if you have that, if you're a not-for-profit society, once you've incorporated, which is relatively easy, then the people on it are protected from liability or shielded personally. That's the huge benefit of the society.
Good. If we haven't learned anything, the social media in this community is extremely
Yeah.
effective, both positive and negative. So I think that's a great place.
It's mostly positive for 95% of the people.
It depends.
Wonderful.
It depends which lens you're looking through.
The Garden Society was a group of people who want to garden, right?
Yeah.
And eventually,
It's great.
Needed the Societies Act and that formal structure of the not-for-profit society to actually just do what they're doing without risk, and to have open doors that wouldn't otherwise do.
Good. We do have a motion on the table. Is with regards to the work plan. Recommendation to consider is with the amendments that Amanda's changed, is that we go forward with this. Is there do we need a seconder on this? Seconder. Mover,
Yeah.
please. Is there a mover and a seconder? Anybody want to second this? Okay, thank you, Johnny. Any discussion at all? Paul, you okay?
Yes, I'm perfectly
Okay.
fine with this.
Okay, so just we'll vote on the motion then. All in favor? And that passes. Thank you, Paul. Okay, I've lost track of our item.
That's okay.
Now, I
The next,
forget what it was.
that's okay. The next item was Susan's late item, the Miami River water quality.
Oh, good, yeah.
Okay,
You
yeah,
wanna give us a
I'm
quick
just gonna
synopsis?
very quickly, a couple things went to the Chum Spawners release. We
So
did
cool.
that, and if you have a chance to do that next year, I highly recommend anyone just come around and see that, because it's incredible to watch the spawners go in, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
I'm
something
curious, if
else.
you don't mind me asking, I'm curious. Last year, there was a couple of otters just going like this, just a few yards away. It was awful.
No,
Are the otters back this year?
no.
You didn't good. Okay.
And was that with the release of the fry or the release of the spawners?
These were the spawn.
The spawners?
Yeah.
No, we were all good. We didn't see anything there.
That's good.
So,
That's
we were then kind of on the lookout to see if we could spot them in different areas. But I didn't see anything. I don't know, Jan set up, some sort of, docs that you could go in if you've seen it. We can log it. So we'll see if anyone's seen anything. So there, but anyway, so the water quality. So the Stream Keepers, have a great website. If you haven't looked at it, look at it. They have data from 2010 right up into our last read, which was, I think, on the 6th.
Really?
And so in the water quality data, they monitor the time they did the test, the weather, the air temperature, the turbidity and the depth of the water, the temperature, oxygen levels, the pH levels, and then where they were taking, because they're taking at various parts on there. So if you look at that data, it gives you a really good idea of how the river is doing and the health of it.
Do they
And-
include pesticides and herbicides on that? Or you
No, because they're not testing for that. But what can give you sort of hints about it, when you look at the like the acidity, like I'm not a
Chemist.
marine biologist, but my understanding is things like the turbidity of it, which is the murkiness of the water, and the acidity of it are good indicators other elements in there. So a normal acidity level, like a really a good spot you want is about 7, somewhere between 6.5 and 8 for acidity is nice. So if you look at some of the data, so I just pulled the data on a sheet here of the last 2 years, and it's probably an average of around 6. So it's not great. There's some elements that again, and if you look at the dates of when they're testing them, you see, it dropped down to like 5.5, 5.8 and stuff like that. So there's definitely areas for improvement with it, like as far as contaminations and things, which again, when we start to deal with even the what we're talking about, the cosmetic pesticide use, where runoffs in there, we know we always have a challenge with the farm runoff, really causing some of these pollution issues and things. But anyways, just wanted to bring that up because we had sort of talked about that. And if you go to the site, like it's great because you're looking at it for so long.
And is there optimism there in the trends in terms of these indicators, these environmental indicators? Have things improved in 15 years?
I'd have to search back further. Like I said, I just quickly pulled up the last 2 years of it, which seems pretty consistent in my opinion so far, but I haven't looked at the old data to see if it was much.
That's great.
Do those floating islands have any effect?
Well, that's what we're hoping for. So when we put those in, we're hoping that's going to leach a lot of those contaminants out. And there's a couple benefits of it because that also what they have growing in there is used for indigenous medicine and ceremonies and things. So they'll be able to like harvest some of that if everything goes well and use that. So there's a couple things, but it's supposed to, so it's a 2-year project, I believe. And then they're going to be testing that to see what did pull out of there, right? And has that affected some of this data?
That's after 2 years still, probably.
I think, this is a brand new project that took a while to get in the works that
Interesting.
Yeah.
And are they measuring herbicides and pesticides, this project?
Well, I believe that they will be. They'll be testing for toxicity in metals and things
That's great. To Mayor Talon's point, maybe then we'll get some baseline data to see what the problem is, if any.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
It's interesting too.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough to know how to assess all the data.
Yeah.
But the variation year to year, there is variation year to year, which is interesting, and season to season, obviously. But it's my only takeaway was that it really depends on the weather, and if it was a hot, dry summer, then you see certain.
Right. So that's
wet.
Analyzing the temperatures.
So
here.
sensitive to the weather around here.
And then, you can see if you kind of look some correlations between the oxygen levels, and then you have to, so then you have to sort of go, okay, how does that tie into the temperature? Yeah. How does that tie into the farming that's been going on when they spray the fields? Because those oxygen levels, decrease when certain toxicities get in there and stuff. So, so hopefully, hopefully with the gathering of all this data, we can see like the spawners. Like there was a couple sightings of some spawners returning.
I saw one too on the Miami bridge at the south end.
I saw that too.
I was there waiting for friends and I was just looking down and the fish about that big. And I went, whoa, that's got to be one that was released. It wasn't being chased by otters or raccoons or anything. It was just zipping underneath.
Great to see that they've made their way up several.
And then there was a guy fishing the next day.
Yeah. but even before the release, they saw some. So those they're speculating or maybe are coming back from about 3 years ago that have made it back up. So
isn't that
really
great?
Positive.
Yeah. Nice. I saw some on Trout Creek a few days ago. Up by Greenpoint.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's good to see them. Yeah, just a couple, to be honest with you.
But anyways, that's all I have to say about that. I just wanted to point out that information for people if they want to.
That we're lucky to have the Miami Street Keepers looking after this, and they're doing a great job of rehabilitating things and keep an eye on things. So that's great. Okay, so we've thank you. I'm going to move on from your anything else. Yeah, okay. Move on to item D, I think we're at, okay?
Yes, the next item was Paul's late item regarding the official community plan.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I kind of I read through the official community plan and then I connected it to the tree bylaw. My question is, I mean, we got trees protected, but do we do anything about protection during construction? When somebody's doing, building a building or whatever, and there's a tree that we want saved, do we have anything in our bylaws to protect the tree that's already there?
Yeah, that's a good point. Or to replace, if we're gonna be removing trees in a fairly large development, do we have something in our bylaw to replace those trees? So, yeah, okay, maybe I'll ask the question.
I think we do have it for replacing. My question is, if there's a tree that we want saved, and a lot of municipalities, they put great big fencing around that area that they want saved. Do we have anything in our bylaws about that specifically?
Okay, thanks, Paul. I'll send this question over to CAO Tyson. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah, so we're in the process of looking at our bylaws to build up our resiliency with respect to tree protection, all that. We don't have anything that speaks to putting fences around. Like Surrey has a very robust tree management bylaw. Our a number of our bylaws do talk about replacement. If there's a person that removes a tree without authorization, I do believe it's 2-for-1 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So we're good there. But one thing I will say is that during the development process, there is tree management for large subdivision or even a townhouse development or apartment. There is either a tree planting plan or landscape plan required as part of the process, which does get vetted by our team, and we'll obviously secure for it and make sure that it actually gets built as per the plan that's been defined.
I can
Yeah, go
add to
ahead.
that a little
Thank
bit
you.
too. In our development approval bylaw, development approval information bylaw,
Yes.
we added a section on natural environment. So Paul, that's bylaw 1210 on our website. If you are interested in taking a look at that, page 8 of the bylaw has types of reports that we can request for the natural environment when we're looking at those larger scale developments. We don't have a lot of ability to stop people from taking down a tree that's right smack in the middle of a lot and would prevent them from being able to build on it, unfortunately. Our tree bylaw speaks to that in terms of if it's in the building envelope. But yeah, there is also that DAI bylaw that has quite an extensive list of things we can request as part of the development process.
Okay. Paul, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that kind of covers it. That was a missing thing, and I knew about the protection in Surrey, and I mean that's pretty extensive for us to do something like that. But I'm glad that we kind of connected the dots on that part.
Okay. I thought there was something else you had.
Yeah, I mean,
Miami River.
Well, they talk in the official community plan about connection of Miami River Greenway to the beach. I mean, that's probably not feasible. We don't want to put another bridge, but maybe something about signage so people are aware that we have this greenway. I mean, we do have it marked at the entrances, but maybe we need to raise public awareness about the greenway, maybe somewhere on mapping. I know in stuff from tourism, they do show our greenway marked on the maps, but I don't know, maybe we can do something more on public signage so people understand what we've got here and can appreciate it.
I recall this coming up with our trails master plan.
Yes.
And
It's also part of the RDS as well.
And part of
So
which,
the
sorry?
Resort Development Strategy
It is.
had some funding through the province for a wayfinding project. If you're interested too, we are doing, that's actually going to be a topic for discussion on a future committee of the whole meeting, is a update on the RMIs, and that's one of the resort municipality projects was to improve wayfinding signage and do some more interactive signage along the Miami River Greenway. And then, yes, I believe it came up as well as part of our Parks and Trails Master Plan, which if anyone hasn't had a chance to review that, that's also on our website too.
And did it specifically look at the connection between the residential area going across Lillooet to the beach?
I'll have to
Did
take
it-
a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't
Sorry.
recall off the top of my head.
CEO Tyson, go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you, Mr. Chair. So the current connection is through here and then it exits on Mine River Drive. And then there you'd have to do a pedestrian or, sorry, you'd have to walk over to Lillooet and then head north on the east side to connect out. There was some discussion, and I believe Mayor Talon had a resident suggest a pedestrian connection here with a new bridge.
Yeah.
And looking at kind of where the community launch area is there or something as an option. We did a brief look, and permitting and costs are absolutely through the roof, and significantly different time, you know, when the Red Hardy and the Revell North bridges were installed. That was environmental restrictions weren't as stringent as they are now. So just the cost alone from the environmental perspective is just astronomical. So, but I do agree that we could do better in directing people from this or even from the east side out of Coons on how to directly connect to the waterfront.
Yeah, you know, the one that ends at Spring Park going across Lillooet, it'd be nice to have more signage there for
Yeah.
sure. And here I've always thought, because I think the connection between this civic land area and the commercial beach area, that connection is going to be more and more important in the future. And to your point, to have a pedestrian crossing there that is more impactful. Maybe we can use the existing infrastructure, but do creative painted river across the sidewalk with salmon in it, or have a covered bridge like I don't know exactly. But I agree with Paul, the connections between north and south are super important. Paul, do you have a motion to that effect, or was this just a question that you had? Or?
It's just a question and suggestion, so it sounds like we're on track. I mean, reading through the official community plan, there's a lot of good stuff in there. The proof is in the pudding is in the proof. I mean, we've got things in there that I read it from an environmental perspective and thought, hey, this is good. And I kind of followed through different bylaws and things. It's just a matter of making sure we follow through so I don't see the need to change anything in the official community plan as far as environmental. We just need to act on them.
Yeah, okay. If we only had lots of money, millions. And to your point, the environmental permitting,
Yeah.
you know, I read your issue about the roadway. It's just amazing that it's difficult to get these permits in place and in time. It's what, sorry?
Yes, and that one in particular is
Yeah.
very frustrating because the appropriate authorities have had that information for months. And then, of course, they respond after the window is closed.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, sorry, we didn't get it.
Just this committee, just so you know, what Tyson's referring to is the road work that we've been doing, that they've been indicating all summer long. Well, maybe you can give details about that.
Sure. So there's two separate projects. There's one that is from kind of I think it's Freddie Marsh's place.
Yes, Alder.
Heads south.
Alder.
And then there's another one in front of the tiny homes there, I forget what it's called, Terra Estates in that kind of area, and then it goes down right away along Emerald. So those two have direct connections or discharge into the Miami River. And we weren't able to achieve or complete all of our tie-ins in multiple locations because the environmental permitting to be able to discharge those storm sewers into the Miami River didn't get reviewed by the appropriate authorities. So now the village, unfortunately, is tasked with monitoring that throughout that whole time, probably until next summer. Because the fish window has to be opened again, and it's just it's really quite frustrating because it is just blanketed with bureaucracy, and we get bureaucracy.
And is that why there's a bit nothing going on right now?
Yeah, so you're gonna see what you see for the winter. Perhaps they may resurface the asphalt once the weather gets better. But the actual tie-ins are not gonna be completed until probably next year. And it's quite frustrating because it's costly for us to monitor, because we've had to have a QEP out there weekly, and we're working with the authorities to,
That's a provincial highway though, they're looking after that.
it
cost.
is, so yeah, that portion is theirs, ours is the, portion, but yeah, it's quite frustrating, and if I had a pole to yell up, I would, but, it's, it's a little too late.
One of those hoses, not pumping water along the ditch on Manor
Training
or
path.
on the Hot Springs Road and below zero temperatures, putting ice on the highway, like no one wants that.
Very icy, yeah.
But until we can do tie-ins and the window closed, so we have to wait for that window.
Yeah, we
August or
literally have 2
September.
feet between that connection and our storm sewer.
Do they?
Solve the problem.
Really? So they're gonna have to rip it up again when they do it?
On the shoulder side.
Yeah.
Like it's in the.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it is very.
It's-
Sorry, we got off
it's
track.
frustrating for
Does that tie in what's happening also?
Yeah,
That's
so
all.
the Coombs portion
That's all.
is village's responsibility.
Yeah.
So the right of way that goes behind Emerald and then down Coombs, that's our project. The other stuff in the right of way is.
And that's completed.
Pardon me?
That's completed, that project, right?
No, it's not. There's still one very large head wall that needs to be installed, and without the appropriate approvals, we can't do that.
Okay, sorry, we got off track there. It's
No, it's my fault. Everything
Yeah.
is-
But it's important that the community
It
knows.
ties into the environment.
It's a fisheries thing, it's an environmental thing, and so if you have questions about this road, yeah, thanks for handling that, Tyson, it's too bad that they let you down there.
It's just illustrative, it's doing any work
Yeah.
along the river. It's costly and time consuming, both those things.
Right. Uh,
Yes,
I mean,
yeah, for anything.
I think before we schedule next meeting, you had one more item.
Yeah, that was, John.
Oh, okay, John, it's the item about the situation on the lagoon regarding wildfowl.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, it was discovered it was the turf wiring, fishing wire that's into the turf. And some of it was laid from one of the staff was saying that found a spule of it, a bunch of it that was tucked into the bush near the skating rink area there. I guess when they did the first part, they suspect that some of the landscaping people there had some excessive and just
Right.
side, so they got rid of it. But so that might have been the main culprit of that flowing into the water.
Maybe for context, you could give staff what the problem was. It was two ducks. two birds
Yeah,
that had-
one was about a month ago.
We
Yeah.
saw your paper.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's that
Yeah.
green mesh, fine green mesh that's in lungs. Sorry.
Across from Cascade Condos where the picnic benches there, there's it's kind of worn down, so you can see parts of it coming up. And that part, I mean, also a safety thing too, maybe somebody could get there. Yeah, and there's also a little bit scattered along, one across from the Muddy Waters there onto one parts of it that's kind of worn down. It's kind of exposing some of the green kind of
I saw
wiring
some on the
parts.
other side of the lagoon as well when I was walking, because I saw
Okay.
it there. Maybe last month, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna pick this up and put it in the garbage, but it was stuck there, but
Yeah.
it was just kind of sticking up there.
Yeah.
The landscape.
In the sand or in the.
Yeah, in the sand.
Sorry, to be, just so I understand for the minutes, it's the stuff that's underneath the soil and the soil has gone down so much
It's
that,
landscaping mesh.
Yeah,
they put
okay.
down
Yeah.
before they put-
yeah,
Yeah, that's what holds the grass.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know if something like changing the type of practices used by, especially near shoreline areas, like if we did. I know there are turf that doesn't use, I know it can be costly, but maybe worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
Especially what it could cause.
I think it's a great point. CAO Tyson, is there a suggestion that you would need from this committee to maybe when landscaping is being done along the shorelines, that this type of mesh isn't used? Maybe we do a different product, or maybe we seed instead of sod.
Yeah, there's,
Can we,
you're more than welcome to provide a recommendation.
Okay.
But I do recognize that there are other practices, and I think, obviously with the specific lagoon project where it had the grass rolled down, that would again was the responsibility of the contractor. However, we could have provided a little bit more oversight with respect to that. And I do believe most of our work that we do on the beach, I think we just oversee. Because we do see a lot of sand come off the beach during the winter, and then just reseed. So I can certainly take that away. I don't want to, again.
Well, let's do a specific motion so it's on the minutes and it's done. Is that okay? So Johnny, do you have a specific motion so that future landscaping projects along the waterfront, including the lagoon and the beach, eliminate the use of this
As a term for the.
mesh-like products?
Because I don't know, I'm not familiar whether there's another option. I would make it very general, that staff, the committee recommends that staff explore other alternatives, to using, landscaping materials with the mesh.
Are you guys happy with that wording that Tyson just said?
Tack in at the end to avoid negative
Yeah.
interactions with
Yeah.
birds while the fowl.
Yeah. Just as an update, I think one bird was saved. You know, a lot of people worked on this. The other one, we're not sure. Maybe an eagle got him instead of the mesh. Okay, so there's a motion on the table. Amanda, are you able to read that back?
Staff explore other alternatives to using landscaping materials with mesh to avoid negative interactions with water fowl, especially along the beach.
Perfect.
Should we add the Miami River to that? How about along beachfront and riparian habitat areas?
Perfect,
Is
yeah.
that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Susan, you're all right with that? Paul, you good with that?
Yes,
Because I think this might be happening along the Miami River too, who knows? Okay, so I need a seconder or a mover and a seconder. Or, no, sorry, Johnny's moved it. I need a seconder. Thank you, Susan. Any discussion about this motion from Johnny? No, all in favor? Thank you. And I think that brings us to our last item. Second to last item, rescheduling the next meeting. And I don't think we're trying to, well, it's up to you guys. I know there's vacations coming up. Paul, when are you back from your lovely vacation?
end of March.
Oh, boy.
You have room for visitors?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Okay. But do you guys want to get together in early February then? I don't want to overload the staff and get it in January. What are you thinking? We've got a good plan here. We've got a good start to the year for 2026. And we just need to put some of the stuff in action. So are you guys okay to meet in early February or Susan, holidays? Johnny, you're around. Paul, you're available by Zoom most times, eh?
yeah.
Okay. So that would, Amanda, does that suit with you? I know you
Sure.
didn't
Do you
want
want to select a date now, or do you want me to just kind of keep it in mind that the next meeting will be early February and send out something a little
Yeah.
closer to?
you okay with, everybody okay with that? Early February-ish?
Yeah, so maybe
I'm
later.
gonna suggest February the 11th, but it doesn't matter.
February.
11th, if it's a morning meeting, it's best for me, that's all.
What is the 11th? I don't have a calendar.
A Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday, perfect. Good. Everybody all right with that?
All right.
And we can massage that date as required.
Yeah.
Okay,
And everything's calendar.
and before we move on, anything else? Thank you for your time, everybody. So last item is adjournment. Do I have a mover to adjourn? Seconder, all in favor to adjourn? Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your environmental rain out there. Thanks for coming,
I don't
Tyson.
know.
See you, Paul.
Okay,
Bye,
yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Have a good holiday.
Merry Christmas.
See you, bud.